Here are the writing tips you need to learn how to build the lore of your fictional world the right way and have your readers begging for more. Join me on the journey toward learning how to write good characters, world building my own story, as well as providing upcoming fantasy writers, authors, and storytellers with all the writing tips they need to make their book or story stand out from all the rest. What is up, you muffin munching muggles? Welcome to Fiction and Reality, where we help you, yes, you become the most deliciously gifted human that you know you are and that you knew you always could be. Now, what do you want? Ah, yes, I see. You're looking to build the lore of your story. Bloody endless wars. Ancient history.
I am the servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Arnor.
Mythical folklore.
Boys, it's hunting time.
Well, what is the lore of your world? The accumulated backstory, history, mythology, and cultural knowledge that defines the setting, its peoples, and their beliefs. It includes the legends, traditions, significant events, and systems like religion, politics, or magic that shape how the world functions and how characters perceive it. Put simply, the narrative framework that gives a fictional world depth, coherence, and a sense of lived in reality. Everything sprouts from a mellow core, a humble beginning, and origin for that matter, but to withstand the axial force, you'll need to understand the pillars that volley against it and hold the foundation of your world together. More specifically, the themes you are seeking to convey through the tenor of your story and how they weave into the lore. Now, what themes drive your story? You need a comprehensive understanding of exactly what themes you want to portray before constructing the framework for the origin and lore of your world, the actual scope of your message to the readers and audience. Perhaps it's about achieving some sense of freedom within a caged world, pushing forward with the hope that one day you'll break from those bounds, and in the process, avoid turning into a genocidal maniac. The rumbling was a base decision. He had no choice. Maybe you're thinking more in the realm of a dystopian futuristic world like Minority Report, where people are judged in the present based on the crimes that are predicted to occur in the future, encapsulating the moral question of free will versus determinism. Examining the ethics of a preventative government and the dangers of becoming solely dependent on technology to govern one's fate. Whether your world is contoured or shaped by walls that ring with slavery of wrangled memories and birth the desire to fly free, futuristic technology-driven society that wages the dangers of enslaving one's fate to technology, you'll need these themes to determine what scope or setting best threads that message and thus funnels the lore that structures its backbone. Now, every hero has a beautiful origin story.
Stop! Why did you say that name?
Well, maybe not every hero.
Where are they?
What I'm trying to say is that your world needs an origin story too. How did your world begin? Understand that the origin of your world should tie into the plot of your story as a whole somehow, some way. Maybe your world is bolstered and governed by this super society of heroes and villains, like in My Hero Academia, which all began with a gene mutation that was transient amongst a certain percent of the population. These quirks give 80% of these individuals superhuman abilities, while 20% were left quirkless, like Midoriya, where power becomes the norm and opens up a mass social divide to those without. However, the journey hinges on us following Midoriya's ascension from that divide when All Might shares his quirk with Midoriya, allowing us to gain insight on what makes a hero. Perhaps there is some ancient prophecy or artifact that your origin revolves around, such as the forging of the Great Rings in Lord of the Rings. 3 rings to the elven race, 7 to the dwarves, and 9 rings to the race of men. But above all else, 1 ring forged in secrecy, the Master Ring, 1 ring to rule them all. The origin of the power of the ring to fell armies, having gauged the scope of destruction through wars, hammers the framework or the foundation of Frodo's journey to keep the ring from the Nazgul, or Black Riders, and destroy it before it returns into the clutches of Sauron's army once again. To have an end, your world must have a beginning, some source that threads into the plot of the present, and in some instances even drives the journey of that plot as a whole. Understand that you can drip the origin throughout segments of your story and don't have to wash it down your audience's throat with one rushing tide. Either way works depending on your approach. The origin is the batter that holds the cake together, that glues the plot of your story and links the constellation of themes you want your world to portray. Perhaps don't simply stop with a chaste description of the origin of your world, but consider myths, legends, and folklore of your world as well. What creative ingenuity is required to manifest them? So how will you weave in myths and legends into your story's lore?
Chicken jockey!
He's real, we get it. You know what else we know is real? That you're enjoying this video, and if you're enjoying this video, go ahead and leave a like to show some love. Myths, legends, and folklore are my favorite parts of constructing the lore of my fictional world, and something you'll find extremely useful. Maybe you're big on shunting a journey through the mystery of some ancient archaeological artifact your characters have discovered, and the crux of your plot becomes interwoven with uncovering the secrets and origins of that artifact. Kind of like what the ancient poneglyphs are to One Piece. Each one reveals something new about the ancient kingdom and the 800 years void century, including the existence of ancient weapons and records wiped from history by the world government. Even going so far as to decimate the entire scholarly country of Ohara for investigating it. Perhaps you should consider introducing a legend within your story whose journey is somehow woven into the plot of the present, using recall or memories of someone from the past to connect with characters of the present and light a spark of revolt. Or maybe like Joy Boy from One Piece, that character simply serves as an archaeological record of the past, another mystery for your characters of the present to uncover to find out exactly what the powers that be are hiding underneath their sleeves and why they once feared him. Don't overlook the importance of legends, the mystery of history, or tinkering with ancient artifacts. In my opinion, this is where most creative minds thrive, and stories begin to stand out from all the rest. It all hinges on one's ability to interconnect all of these elements into something meaningful to your character's journey. In other words, tying them to destiny and fate in a way that will leave your audience craving to learn about every creek and crevice of your world. So when you're building your world, don't just invent legends, anchor them, make them echo, let them haunt your landscape, shape your civilizations, and challenge your characters. Whether it's a buried artifact, a lost hero, or a forbidden text, let the past breathe through the present, because when your myths do more than decorate your world, when they define it, that's when lore becomes unforgettable. Hey, if you're going to build some lore for your world, you'll need to establish a cultural memory.
Remember who you are!
More than the myths and legends that govern your lore, taking into account what mechanisms you'll use to store that lore. Now that you've got that stuck in your skull, like the poneglyphs with One Piece and how Oda uses them to tell the tale of an ancient history expunged by the world government, other mechanisms might be used as a device to usher in the history of your world. Maybe you've etched the lore into a series of hidden books scattered around the world, scribed with words that only a certain individual with unique traits can interpret. Or to make things more interesting, perhaps there is no one alive that can read those books at all, and the characters must undertake a journey to find some artifact that will grant them that ability. This effectively uses language as a medium that allows your lore to drive the story onward. Whatever mechanisms or device you use should make sense to the story and feed in seamlessly to the journey at hand. Perhaps more than other things, it should prompt inquiry from the audience regarding the depth and the nature of the device itself, and what it teaches them, and the characters about the world you are sculpting within the palm of your hand. When developing a cultural memory, you might even think about twisting the lore of your world. King Carl Fritz, the 145th king of Eldia, if you remember, wiped out the memories of the Eldians due to the vicious infighting and oppression from Marley and moved them to Paradise Island. Without a history of their past, they were left to believe nothing awaited for them outside of the walls. If you think of it, a great part of the journey for Eren and the scouts was reclaiming that history for themselves and uncovering the truth of Paradise Island. This is a prime example of shrouding the lore of your world, but dripping fragments to your audience and the characters at large to feel the development of your world and the story as a whole. A journey to shatter the twisted history of your world, if you will. Cultural memory isn't just about preserving lore, it's about shaping identity, controlling truth, and driving discovery. Whether your world hides its history in ancient scripts, forbidden relics, or shattered legends, the way that memory is stored or erased should fuel the plot and challenge your characters. Like the Eldians in Attack on Titan or the scholars of Ohara in One Piece, the quest to remember becomes just as powerful as the conflict itself. When you craft cultural memory with intention, your world begins to breathe, revealing truths only to those willing to seek them. Always remember to chase the lore of your world back to the story of the present, and focus on the consequences it shapes for the choices your character makes and your plot at large. Sometimes that lore will just have you tripping out like Grisha when he got sunned by his own son. It's through unlocking Grisha's suppressed memories that we actually see the events of the Reese family being slaughtered, and even Eren himself eating his father, inheriting suppressed memories from the predecessors of the Attack Titan. Quit punking out, Grisha. You were the one who started this story, right? Do it. Lore, when used effectively, serves as more than a world decoration. It becomes a reflection of cause and consequence within the narrative. It reveals how past events, belief systems, and forgotten truths shape current societal structures, character motivations, and conflicts. Through lore, we see the residual effects of war, long-ended ideologies passed down, or power systems rooted in ancient myths. It gives the present context and weight, allowing every action or rebellion to feel grounded in a broader, often cyclical history. This not only deepens immersion, but also reinforces the idea that the world itself has memory, and that memory can be weaponized, misunderstood, or rediscovered to alter the course of the story. So when crafting your story, don't treat lore as mere background noise. Treat it as the soil your world grows from. Let it bleed into politics, culture, and character choices so that every present day consequence feels like the shadow of a forgotten truth. That's when your world stops feeling invented and starts feeling lived in. If you took something from this video, I want you to take a moment to crack that subscribe button below and like the video. It pushes these videos out so that others can take key tokens that you've gained, so do your fellow comrades a favor. The direction of progress is forward, and it's only up from here. I will leave my link to my socials in the description below. If you want more info on how to improve your story, feel free to check out some of my other videos by clicking right here. Writers, world builders, and storytellers aiming to perfect writing techniques and enhance their storytelling and world building are all welcome. And with that, remember, if ever you're lost in a forest of words, strip your mind from fantasy and look to the window of the world, and there your mind will run free.